putting bars on Donald Trump's Walk of Fame star. He won't have to worry about that because he's celebrated. He's one of them. Jim Carrey, Jack Black, all of them, they run in the same. They're part of the same pack, the same guilt. It's just what it is. You can't make negative waves. You have to, in Hollywood, do go along to get along. Even Chris Pratt, which he is a Christian, and he's, I like his acting. I love Passengers, a recent movie, if you haven't seen him in Passengers. I thought was terrific. Parks and Recreation, I loved him on that TV show. If you're a subscriber to Amazon Prime, you can watch that TV show, Parks and Recreation. They have the full seasons. But he was awesome. Loved his character. If you haven't checked out Chris Pratt, yes, the recent Jurassic Park movies, Jurassic World, terrific. But, he doesn't think that Hollywood is anti-anything. Many people, say they're anti-Christian and they're bigoted and all. But, there is a lot of shout-outs to God in Hollywood for the Emmys, the Grammys, and all that. People, giving thanks to God. And I think people do that. But, you can give lip service and then you can actually put your money where your mouth is, kind of a thing, and live the gospel to its fullest. Something Michael Jordan has done this past week is give $2 million to those in the Carolinas. I mean, he's from the Carolinas. His family's from the Carolinas. This really hit home, he said, literally. Michael Jordan, good job. He doesn't have to be thanked by me, but I just think it's an honorable thing to do. He never forgot his roots. Great person, great player, and a great heart. And he said that he was happy and fortunate that he could be in a position to actually make a difference. And he thought it was extra neat, and I'm paraphrasing what he had said directly because I'm not going to read it verbatim on the news story, but I read it, is more or less what he was saying, the gist, that the areas that were hit and affected were areas that he really knew well. And so it was extra special for him to be able to go in with those monies and will be appropriated to helping people. And it will make a significant difference. So, these are the things that Hollywood celebrities should be banning their star power and raising money for people that are hurting right now. But liberal celebrities have been leading this resistance on Donald Trump ever since they had that shocking upset over Hillary Clinton, which was Hollywood's darling, let's face it. But the superstars are going all in on these upcoming midterm elections, but whether or not they can make a difference, who knows? But since Trump's taken office, though, you got to admit, a gaggle of celebrities have become increasingly involved in the politics. Chelsea Handler, pretty much her struggling Netflix show, focusing on activism. Actress Cynthia Nixon, who unsuccessfully challenged New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, definitely not his dad. Meryl Streep attacked Trump during a Golden Globes acceptance speech. Remember that? Of course, De Niro. He said he'd like to punch the president, and Madonna proclaimed that she thought about blowing up the White House. Just, unbelievable. And it goes on. It just goes on and on and on. Okay. Chris Barron, former First Lady Michelle Obama, enlisted Tom Hanks, Lin-Manuel Miranda, Janelle Monáe, Tim McGraw, Faith Hill, for When We All Vote initiative, George Clooney, Jim Kimmel, Cher, Alec Baldwin, Chrissy Teigen, Deborah Messing, Alyssa Manio, among the outspoken critics of Trump, and many are expected to jump on this bandwagon heading into the midterms. Just last week, actress Julianne Moore, just jumped on again. America Ferrera, Marissa Tomei, Gabrielle Union, and Amber Tamblyn took part in a video praising folks, Dr. Kristen Blasey Ford, the woman who accused Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh of sexual misconduct, praising her. Again, making it sound like Brett Kavanaugh did all these things 36 years ago to her. Not that Brett Kavanaugh has not been busy. And when I mean busy, I mean working for several presidents, been very involved in Washington. And had the nod of now sitting President Donald Trump. And now, it seems like all this pent-up frustration and annoyances by the left, they just seem like they got all their cannons in place, and yet no testimony from either, just accusations. It's very frustrating, folks, when you're ready to hang somebody hook, line, and sinker, and we're supposed to be a country of law and a rule of law where we actually respect the law. And remember, folks, innocent before proven guilty. And I'm just afraid that this left-leaning lunacy will get us in trouble if we continue on like this, where we will not have any voice. And socialism will prevail. And that's what the left really ultimately wants. I mean, let's face it, that's what they want. You have to use caution, folks, against the slippery slope. The court will likely have a few more things on its plate. I got to caution you, folks, the theoretical takedown of Roe versus Wade. I agree with Glenn Beck on this point. On theblaze.com. That was his point. And he also pointed out there's no one really knows how Kavanaugh will vote. And that was another point. And I agree with him on both those points. Strong points. Common sense points. There's other people on radio that have common sense. I scour all the media to try to put the pieces together for you. And if you like For the People and it's not on in your area and you're just listening to the podcast, we have an affiliate list so you can look around to see perhaps the station in New York you're listening to right now on WKAL. Maybe it's that station. Maybe you're in Poplar Bluff, Missouri. Where else could we be? We're out in Arizona. We love Arizona. Yeah, it's a good station. In Florida, we're on probably about 10 stations. And we have a great podcast listenership that has been listening to us for close to 4 years now and building. And I had mentioned a meeting that we were having with a possible syndicator, a broadcaster that's listening to the show and evaluating the show. And, there's a place, I think, in America for more stations. So I'm relying on the experts to see, what the feasibility would be. And so right now, we're testing the waters. They're testing the waters. And I'm definitely not going to, at this point, mention because it's just, there's not even a dance. They're listening right now, and they know you're listening. So we just want to make sure that we're doing everything we can on our end to make sure that we have an excellent show, a thought-provoking show, a program that is not just a bunch of jargon, a bunch of trying to fill time. Because if that was the case, I could think of a lot of more interesting things to talk about than politics. But to me, it's so important for this country to be able to have conservatives with values and decency to be able to lead and govern this country into the right direction so we don't go over the slippery slope into the abyss of Sodom and Gomorrah. I'm afraid that if Hillary Clinton had gotten in after 8 years of failed policy from Obama, God knows where we would be right now. And I guarantee you that the stock market, guarantee you the jobless claims and housing and all that stuff would just be deplorable. Good things are happening, folks, and we want these things to continue. But justice, I am banking on, will prevail. And that is at least the hope. And for both Brett Kavanaugh and the doctor, and I say this sincerely, I mean, they're very, very salacious claims. And yes, even after 36 years. And the reason that I am passionate about this particular event is that I myself, and I've mentioned this years ago, I'm very transparent on things that have happened to me. And I know everybody's swallowing deeply now. Oh, my God, what is Keith Allen going to say? Well, I went to boarding school. I went to a school back in the 80s. I grew up in an upper middle class family, and my dad was a very prominent engineer, worked for Strauss Communications in the 80s. But I went to Chartwell Manor School in Mendham, New Jersey. And you can query that on Google, and you can find out that the headmaster abused kids and did things, the wife, for years. And I had told my parents, and my mother at the time just thought I wanted to get out of the school. It was a tough school. The Blazers, and, it was almost like finishing school. But it had a good reputation. I was one of the kids who, instantly identified what was going on and addressed the headmaster and told him I'd call the police on him if he tried to touch me. He didn't touch me like he did the other boys. Tried to, and every time he did, I'd tell my dad, and of course I got beat with a bat or some switch. Oh yeah, I went through it. It was painful to see this kind of thing happening. He eventually did some jail time, eventually became a counselor in Morristown, New Jersey, and ended up molesting some other people, did some more jail time. He's passed since, but you can read the whole story of Chartwell Manor School in Mendham online. And it was, when somebody doesn't believe you, I came out quick. Some people don't because they think you're making it up. Some people don't say anything because it's embarrassing. Did you put yourself in that position? Et cetera, et cetera. And a lot of people just don't want to go there. Or fear that if you said something bad's going to happen to you. And right now, Blasey is fearing for her life. She has death threats coming from all different places. Kavanaugh has death threats coming to him, and just the most horrible, horrendous things that you could say to his wife and to his poor family. They didn't do anything, but they're suffering. And they're seeing their dad go through all of this. And it's troublesome. Sexual misconduct, it shouldn't be any place, but it is. And unfortunately, this is a reminder, folks, that we do not live in a perfect world. So I hope that we sit back, hear the testimony, and hopefully, if one is lying, it comes out. I don't know how, but it comes out, it's revealed, and we know, and then, the person can be apprehended in I don't know what capacity. But yeah, if Kavanaugh did it, he should be on the Supreme Court. And if the good doctor has done it and lied about it and perjured herself, she shouldn't be a doctor anymore. And that's just, my opinion on all of this. Remember the observatory? I don't know if you heard this story. This was a really weird story. But there's a solar observatory in New Mexico that was closed down, and there was a whirlwind of speculation that maybe somebody saw